You are a private investigator? What is that like?
Right now, I mostly do like surveillance, so a lot of cheating spouses, trying to figure out if people are cheating on each other.
Really?
Yeah,
you can just hire somebody
really
to stalk your wife, and it's totally legal. That's crazy. Hello?
Hi.
Is this Alex?
It is.
What is going on with you, dog?
I just opened some Civ. What about you, dog? Oh, and I have a Modelo.
Is Civ is like Civilization, like the video game, right?
Yeah. Have you played it?
I haven't. I don't really have the patience for games like that because I feel like Civ is a commitment. Like I don't do any entertainment thing that's a commitment. Like I won't even watch a movie because I know I'm in it for an hour and a half. And a game of Civ, I mean, that's like 3 days, right? How long does a game of Civ last?
It is. Yeah. I mean, it can go on for a really long time. I'm on the second day.
I've been invited by friends before to play Dungeons and Dragons, and that's just my worst fucking nightmare because it's I mean, that's a whole commitment. You know, I'm gonna say this real thing about Dungeons and Dragons real quick because I don't know why I need to get this out there. A lot of the times in Dungeons and Dragons, like I've been with my friends and we've like talked about putting a game together, and they're like, we need somebody who's like knows a lot about the game in our group that they can like guide us through it. Does that make sense? You ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah. I actually haven't, but I really want to.
But I think that that's not what you want. You don't want anyone in the group who knows what they're talking about, because then that person's just gonna be running everything. I want to play Dungeons and Dragons with a group of people where nobody knows what they're doing. And that feels like it's more fun than having one guy be like, okay, now you do this, now you do this, now you do this, now you do this.
Right. It's way more fun if you figure it out together. Way more fun.
Anyway, let's see. What is your name? Alex. Alex, it says here that you are a private investigator. Tell me about that. What is that like?
Oh, well, there's a lot of things you can do. Right now, I mostly do like surveillance, so a lot of cheating spouses, trying to figure out if people are cheating on each other.
Really?
You can do, yeah, that's actually like a lot of what private investigators do, and they do a lot of insurance too, to like see if you lied about your insurance claim and stuff.
So back up for a second. I want to get the whole picture here. So it says you're 23 years old.
24,
is that true?
Yeah.
24. So are you, is this a private practice or do you work for another investigator?
I work for a company, but it's private because it's not the government.
Interesting. Okay.
Or like a government agency.
Well, it's funny because I feel like when I think of a private investigator, I feel like most of them are like, they're like older. Like they're like, when I think of a private investigator, I think of someone who's like 50 or something.
I am very rare. I'm very rare. Most people are retired police. Yes.
How does one become a private investigator?
I went to school for criminal justice and I got super lucky. And I just asked around to see if somebody knew somebody, and I ended up finding someone who was willing to take me under. But usually you'd go to school and go get your license on your own. So you have to read this huge book. It's really not that big. It's like 300 pages. You read this book and then you go take this test, and the test is ridiculous. It was 100 questions and it was horrible. But yeah, and then you find a job. And that's kind of it.
Why do you need a test to become a private investigator? Because don't you, I mean, because it's a very much like because if you're not working for like the government or whatever, and there's no, or like the police, and there's no like by the books, you know how that people are like, we're gonna do this by the books. I feel like there's no book for you to go by and just kind of doing it on your own. Why do you need to pass a fucking test?
I don't know, the book. The book is actually The Idiot's Guide to Private Investigation. That's what the test is based off of.
There's an Idiot's Guide to, like, you can just go on Amazon, buy this book, and become a private investigator?
That's where I got it. Yeah, I got it off of Amazon.
Okay.
But there is a lot of laws. Most of the questions are about the laws, and the laws are, there's a lot.
Right, because what is the line between
area.
privately investigating somebody and stalking them?
That's a really good question, and I think we are stalkers. We're just legally allowed to be stalkers.
How long have you been doing this for?
This is, I had my apprenticeship for like 6 months, but I never went and did anything. I went and did something for the first time last week.
Oh, so last week was your first time out on the field?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and I was telling the call screener, I've got some imposter syndrome, and it just doesn't feel real yet. Like, because I've been working towards this for so long, and now I'm doing it, and it's just like, it has not hit me yet that I'm a private investigator at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've only done one thing. I want to get into the whole imposter syndrome thing, but I have so many questions about your gig. All right, so okay, how much are you? Are you allowed? What was the case that you went on today?
It was I went on one yesterday that was a custody case, so we're just trying to get somebody doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. The first one that I went on was a cheating spouse case, and so same thing. I just followed her around and made sure she wasn't cheating.
So okay, let's take this cheating spouse one for example. And this cheating spouse one, was this like you were an assistant to somebody else, or this was your case?
It was all me. I went out alone for my very first case.
Awesome. And so I assume you had a lot of cases before that where you were like sort of shadowing a different PI.
No.
Oh, really? I would think that's how. Is that not how that works?
It should be how it works, but I don't know. I guess I kind of have this like air about me where people think that I know what I'm doing, and so they're just like, "Oh, she's fine. Go do it."
Perfect.
And it was terrifying.
All right, so tell me how this went. Tell me. I want to hear. Did they like give you okay, here's their license plate number, here's their address, go to their house, follow their car, see what's going on type of thing?
Yeah, you might as well go get your license. That's exactly what I did. Just talk to them, get all the information that you can, and then go follow them.
So tell me how it went. What did you see? What did you feel? What was that stakeout like?
Oh, man. I mean, I was really, really nervous because I hadn't done a shadowing before, that I was not in a good position and that I was going to totally blow everything. Like, they were just going to be like, who's this chick following me? But that didn't happen. I followed her. She went shopping. She went and got some food. And that was it. She didn't cheat. But, yeah, I was super, super nervous that I was going to blow the cover the whole time.
I would fucking be too if that was my very first time doing that. I'm so surprised that they didn't have you like shadow a person beforehand. They just sent you on your way.
Yeah.
But you did it.
Yeah,
you found out that they're not cheating.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
that's what's so surprising about the imposter syndrome is I keep getting thrown into these situations and it's totally fine, but for some reason I'm like, it's not totally fine. I don't know.
Well, but this doesn't make sense to me because they hire you to follow this guy hired you to follow his wife around for a day, but how does he know that she's just not cheating that day?
Well, we usually do it multiple times because of that exact reason.
How much longer are you gonna follow this person
the circumstances have to be perfect. I don't know. It usually depends on the client. They might get that feeling where, I need to chill out. Maybe she's not cheating. Or they might be like, no, I know this is a fact and I need to get this for my divorce. So keep going. Because people, they could be cheating every other day. They could be cheating once a month. Like, that's what makes the private investigation stuff really hard too, is that there's no guaranteed results. We could follow your wife around getting lunch for 2 months, but she could still be cheating. Like, it's difficult.
Dude, it's so crazy that this is like a legal thing you can hire somebody to do. You can just hire somebody to stalk your wife, and it's totally legal. That's crazy. No, I totally understand why you have all these feelings about this. Yeah, you have to hire. You can, as long as they've bought a book from Amazon, read it cover to cover. You can hire them to stalk whoever you want. That's crazy to me. No, I understand why you have all these feelings. I mean, this is a wild thing that you're doing. I would feel all the same feelings.
It's crazy. It is. I'm just wondering when it's going to set in. Like, I've already gone on the 2 cases. I've been doing the apprenticeship for a while. I got my license. I took that stupid test. Like, when am I going to feel like a private investigator?
Can I ask tell me more about this test. What kinds of questions were on here?
Oh, man. That test was horrendous. When you do certain things wrong, you can either get fined or you can get your license taken away. And like, some of the questions would be like, if you did X thing, would you get fined $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, or $3,500? Like, they wanted you to know to the T what was going to happen to you when you fucked up in each and every single situation. And then like,
so 30 of the how much do you get fined if your adhesive mustache falls off your face?
That's going to be $2,000, unfortunately.
They have I'm sorry. I'm like, I know you are like have like legitimate feelings behind this that you called in to talk about, but I have so many questions just about this thing because it's fascinating to me. So it's legal. Okay, so it is legal to hire somebody to stalk your wife to see if she's cheating, but there are certain things about it that are illegal, and if you do those things wrong, the government can fine you?
Yes.
Can you give me an example of like give us an example of like a couple things that could go wrong that you might get fined for?
Well, I mean, the easy one is confidentiality. You know, like if I walked around telling the names and address and the whatever of the people that I'm watching, that might be a revoke actually. And then there's like so much gray area. Like when it comes to GPSs, you'd think that a GPS would make this whole thing so easy. We're actually only allowed to use GPSs if both names are on the car. That's the only circumstance. So if you put a GPS on somebody, not both names are on the car, there you go, fined again. Like, there's so much random stuff.
Oh, so if a husband and a wife both own a car together, you're allowed to track it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it has to be the client, whoever's asking for the tracking has to be on the car.
The confidentiality thing is super funny because you're not allowed to disclose. So if a client comes to you and says their name and all this, you're not allowed to tell anyone, but your whole job is to find confidential information about other people and tell it to your client.
I hadn't thought about it that way. That's pretty hypocritical. Yeah. We're allowed to dig into other people's business, but we can't be the information, or I guess we are the information source. I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know what we're doing.
This is so interesting to me. Okay, so tell me about, you said you went on 2 cases, one with the guy and his wife, and you followed her all around throughout her day and you didn't find anything. What was the second case?
It was a custody. So trying to catch somebody doing something they would look bad if she had kids with her. And same thing, a bunch of nothing, which is another crazy thing. Like, I got paid to sit in a parking lot for 4 hours and wait for her.
Did you bring like binoculars and shit like that? Like it's like a legit stakeout?
Yeah, I have a bag and it has a disguise in it. It has
Oh, so I was right about the stupid mustache thing. You have an actual disguise.
I do personally because I'm kind of an identifiable person. Like, I don't think I blend into a crowd very easily. So I bring things that would make me blend into a crowd easier.
Like what?
But I don't think I have like a wig because I don't have natural hair color. So I have a natural hair colored wig, and I have like a t-shirt, like just a normal ass t-shirt. And I usually wear normal looking pants, like jeans and normal sneakers. And then I wear a hat because the wig kind of sucks. So I got to hide that, the sucky part of the wig. And I think that helps me blend in a little more, just look a little more normal. I have to hide my tattoos as well.
Do you have a trench coat?
I actually don't have a trench coat. Maybe I should invest in one. I feel like that would make me look. If I went out as myself and I put on a trench coat, I think everyone would immediately know I was a private investigator. It would just be written all over me.
The disguise thing is interesting to me because, okay, you say you have to cover up your... What color is your hair? Is it like a green or blue or something that makes it like stand out?
Yeah, right now it's blonde and pink and purple and blue.
Blonde and pink and purple and blue with tattoos. Why would you have to cover up the tattoos?
Yeah.
Would the tattoos like make it... I feel like when I think of a private investigator, I don't think of someone... It doesn't seem like a tattoo-y kind of job.
It's because of the copy feel to it. Yeah. It's really like, it makes me identifiable. So if the person had looked at me and they had happened to look at my tattoo and think, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
If they saw it again, then I'd be busted.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I might not be immediately busted, but the more they see me, yeah.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. If you have like a sort of descript look and they see you multiple times, they're like, wait, why the fuck does this person keep popping up?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that happens quickly.
Well, I'll say this. I know that you're having these feelings. Not a single feeling that you've brought up, on this phone call in the context of what it is that you are doing seems remotely abnormal. Like, yeah, if you've never ever shadowed a person before and you're like have this job where you're like a fucking super spy and you've never done it before, of course you're gonna feel a little bit nervous the first time. If it's your first time, of course you're gonna feel nervous.
Yeah.
I would feel nervous as fuck if I were doing what you were doing. So I don't think anything that you've described is anything other than a very normal part of this process. If you could call any part of this process normal. I mean, it's a crazy thing that you're doing. What brought you to want to do this?
Oh, I always wanted to be a detective, but I have never wanted to work for the government, any sort, and on the cop level or federal level. And the only other option is private investigation. So
the guy with the wife and the guy with the kid, are you gonna follow up with them at all? Like, do you have are they gonna send you out on another stakeout?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't talked to the boss lady about them yet. Actually, I know that the child case is still going, and I think I'm going back out to the cheating guy on Thursday. But I know I'm gonna have somebody with me that time. So that's going to be really nice.
Wow, this is fascinating. It's scary what you're doing because, like, if you get caught spying on someone, like, I don't know, that's just a really awkward. That's just a really, looking at someone through binoculars and then having them make eye contact with you through the binoculars. Even if you have a permit to be watching them. Still an uncomfortable situation. So I understand why you have all these feelings about it, but I think you're going to be fine. I think you have an exciting career ahead of you. You got caught? What happened?
Well, I didn't get caught by the suspect. I got caught by another person, and she came up to my car, and she was so mad at me. She was like, why are you parked here? And, we have to lie to them. So I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for my friend. And she started going off on me. She was like, you can park at a church. You couldn't park at a at the store down the road. You couldn't park anywhere else. You had to park in somebody's driveway. You know, in my head, I'm like, yes, ma'am, I literally have to park in your driveway because I can't see this house from any other angle. I'm so sorry.
You were okay. You left out. You were parked in her driveway.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
You left that part out when you said some lady came up to me and was mad at me.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So you were parked in this lady's driveway, and she was like, "Hey, how did you resolve that conflict?"
Oh, I just left because she started taking pictures of me, and I was like,
"Yeah,
okay, well, I'm gonna leave." So I did.
Well, Alex, I'm very happy to hear that you have this cool job. I'm so excited for you. You have many more. Your life is like a fucking TV show now. That's exciting. I know that you are feeling some imposter syndrome, but I couldn't feasibly imagine you feeling anything else with this kind of job on your first day. So I don't think it's abnormal. And I think a few years from now, when you have hundreds of cases under your belt, you know, I think you'll be a hardened veteran. You have now inspired within me, and possibly many other people listening, loads of paranoia that any parked car that they see in their peripheral vision is a private investigator that is spying on them.
Oh boy.
So thank you for that gift.
I would say that the chances are probably somebody doing something illegal more than it being one of us, but not to, not to inspire the paranoia, but.
Is there anything you want to say to the people at the computer before we go, Alex?
Well, it's kind of lame, but do what you want to do. You know, if you want to be a private investigator, go do it, because it's totally possible. And if you want to be a musician, go do it. It's all possible. Just do it.
You know, I don't think that's lame at all coming from you. I think that you're definitely living proof that you can, if you can dream it, you can do it.
That's right. Thank you, Gecko.
Of course. Thank you for calling, Alex. Oh man, she was a trip. Shout out to her. I meant what I said at the end. She really is like first what she described to me. I totally thought I didn't know that you could actually be a detective. I thought that was a fake job. I didn't know that there are people who actually do that you can legally pay a person to just stalk whoever you want. That people can get stalking permits. Isn't that crazy? You can just, if you want to fuck with your friend, you could just hire someone to stalk them, and it's totally legal. And Alex gets to do it. Shout out to Alex. Truly truly proof that if you can dream it, you can do it. And she was saying she had some imposter syndrome the whole time, but I was kind of just so engrossed in the logistics of what it is that she does that I didn't talk to her about it too much. But that's because, yeah, of course she's gonna be nervous going on these things for the very first time. I mean, it's crazy. But I'm stoked for her. I think she's got a very cool career ahead of her. So, thank you for calling in to tell us about it, Alex. I said that weirdly, Alex. All right, let's move on. Let's do another call. Hello?
Hello. How's it going?
Is this Joseph?
Yes, it is.
What's up, man?
Not much. This is the Gecko?
This is the Gecko.
Okay, well...
I got the costume on and everything.
Nice. Just wanted to start off by saying I enjoy watching all your clips and your streams, and I love the advice that you give out.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
So, I'm calling in today because I wanted your advice. I grew up in a house full of girls, and one day, they had me like put on a dress and, you know, some makeup as a joke. And I realized that in that moment that I actually kind of liked being like that. And I kind of always played along, and in my own time, I would dress up in, you know, some of my sister's clothing. But now and today, with me and my wife having an apartment and stuff, it's been harder, but I still carried it on. And I actually have a group that I go to on the weekends. And she's been, I feel like she's been catching on lately, because there was an incident last week where she saw me wearing a pair of underwear, and, you know, it was kind of like I just bent over and she noticed. And I told her like it was a joke, but she's been like acting strange, and I think she's catching on to me.
Interesting. So I want to get a little bit of backstory on this. So it says you're 28 years old.
Yeah.
So you've been, and you said that this when you were growing up. So I mean, this was like how old were you when you were first started wearing women's clothing?
I was like, I want to say like 10.
10. Okay, so you've been doing this for about 18 years.
Yeah, like more and more so ever since I got with this group.
Mm-hmm.
It's the name of the group is Big Buff and Bitchin', and we get together on the weekends, and you know it's guys that you would never expect, but you know, it kind of makes me feel like more safe and more normal, because you know these guys do it almost somewhat just the same way I am. Like they kind of hide it because, you know, I guess it's not really accepted out there today's society.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How did you find this group of fellow cross-dressers?
Well, I kind of like stumbled upon it, like through Google and stuff. But that's a long story in itself.
Mm-hmm. So as far as all of this in relation to your wife, how long have you guys been married for? How long have you guys been together for?
Well, period, about 7 years, but we've been married for 4.
Okay, so you've been together for 7, and this is not like a new. The cross dressing has been a part of your life for a really long time, from what you've told me, right?
Yeah, I've been experimenting more and more over the years, but yes.
Okay, and throughout all those 7 years, it never came up to her.
No, because it's not something I'm particularly telling everybody exactly. It's more on the down low.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me, why are you afraid of your wife knowing about it?
I don't want her to think, maybe I'm not attracted to her, or I'm gay, or she might leave me, it's complicated for me.
Yes. And, yeah.
I do love her and everything, and then, at the same time, I do enjoy, other stuff that I feel like I could never tell her. Every time I dress up, I put a butt plug in, and,
mm-hmm.
That feels good for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so I understand this from both of those sides. So let me ask you, because, wanting to wear women's clothing doesn't inherently say anything about your sexuality, but I assume that you assume that your wife will think that it means that we'll get the wrong idea and think, oh, he's gay. Why would I, be with a man who's gay? He's, attracted to me, of course.
Yeah, and she's pregnant on top of that, so it's you know, she's been crazy with her emotions lately.
You know, my opinion is, I mean, look, I don't, if you, so tell me this. So you are attracted to your wife. You are in love with
Of
your
course,
wife.
yes.
There's no sort of like, oh, I might not like girls kind of thing. You are attracted to your wife, and this cross-dressing thing doesn't have any effect on your
Yes.
sexuality.
I just don't want her to feel like, you know, like I'm prettier than her sometimes, or like, you know, like she has, you know, like anything to worry about.
So if you're married to this woman and you've been with her for 7 years, it's important for her. I feel like it's important for you guys to have a level of communication with each other where you feel like you can adequately explain this to her. It might come as a bit of a shock, you know, especially if you guys have been together for 7 years and this has sort of been a part of your life for a long time. It might come as a shock to her that you've never talked about it before. But I think if you're married to this woman and you're about to have a kid with this woman, you guys should be at a level of communication where, you know, you should be able to be like, hey, I like dressing in women's clothing. That has no effect on, you know, my sexuality. That has no effect on how I feel about you. But it is a thing about me that I've been hiding because I feel like you'll think this and you'll think this and that. But I'm telling you this. You know, she should be able to understand that. You guys should be able to have that conversation. I understand the fear behind wanting to have that conversation. But if you guys are getting married and you're having a kid, I feel like your relationship with her should be such that you guys should be able to talk this out. I mean, what do you think of that?
I mean, I hear you, but the thing is, like, you know, like, I know my no offense, like, I know my girlfriend best. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, sure.
My wife, and like, I don't want to say she's homophobic, but I know she does not like the idea of, like, gay people. She believes to each his own or anything else like that, but I feel like she might think, like, I'm a weirdo, and I don't feel like a weirdo. I feel like, you know, like, I'm just trying to be myself and, like, just have experiences.
So you think that your wife will judge you heavily for this?
I think she would run for the hills.
You think she would run?
Especially if,
run
like,
for the
she
hills?
asks to see me. What girl wouldn't? I don't know. Like, if she saw me dressed
I
up,
wouldn't go.
and,
I wouldn't. Go ahead. Tell me what you're gonna say.
No, like, I feel like if she asks to see me dressed up, and then, you know, I come out, like, you know, like, in my tight leather clothes that I like to wear, she's gonna just walk away.
You know, I think, and, you know, look, man, I know you said you know your wife well, and this is hard, man, because I'm sure that your relationship is a lot deeper than you could let on in this little phone call. But if you're gonna be married to this person and you're gonna have a kid with this person, like, I feel like they should be able to accept you for who you are. I mean, that's one of the, like, I mean, for me personally, everyone has their own little thing, but, you know, that feels like a major tenet of marriage is, like, you are accepting of one another. I feel like, and that, man, you know, I feel like you deserve somebody, if you're going to get married and have a child with them, you deserve somebody who fucks with you for who you are. I mean, if you guys have been together for 7 years, I mean, I get it if, like, you've been dating for a month, if, you know, she's like, yeah, I don't know how comfortable I am with this, I'm out, like, you know, sure, whatever. But I mean, if you guys have been together for 7 years, I feel like the relationship has evolved to a point where, you know, you should be able to talk about this. Again, I don't know your relationship, but it does pain me because I feel like you deserve a person who, you know, won't think you're weird for this kind of stuff. I mean, maybe if she was like, I don't mind you doing this, but I don't want to see it, or something like that, you know, maybe that's a workable situation, but I don't know. I don't feel like this is something that you should have to hide if it's, you know, if this is your wife we're talking about. What are your thoughts on all this? Because I'm just talking shit.
Well, yeah, like it's just it's, I guess it's the not knowing and the what if and the, like, I do construction, and she knows, like, a lot of people that I work with, and, you know, like, God forbid, like, she was to, like, be mad and post anything online, and, you know, like, all the guys would know, and, like, it would just, I feel like it would spread like wildfire.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even if she's accepting and, you know, I don't know, she tells someone, God forbid, and she goes to advice for someone, and people talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just don't feel like this secret's ready to come out yet.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so you know, against everything I just said, this is your secret. This is your life, and if you feel, you know, it's like if you feel like it's the most beneficial for you to keep it a secret, then that's of course your decision to make. I
Do you
feel
think I'd
like
be wrong if I kept it a secret?
I can't answer that because you only know your life and you only know what's best for you. I can't tell you what's best for you. I personally think you deserve to be with somebody who accepts you for who you are if you're gonna get fucking married to them, because marriage, I mean, like, look, I don't think marriage is that sacred. You can always get a fucking divorce. People do it all the time. But if you're gonna get fucking married to someone and have a kid with them, I mean, that's some serious shit. You know, that should be a person who just like fucks with you. You know, on a really deep level. And I think if you're gonna get married to someone, you deserve to get married to somebody who fucks with you on that deep of a level. That's just my own opinion. If you're gonna get married, but again, you're your own person. If you're evaluating everything and you're coming to the conclusion, my life would just be better if I continued to hide this, you know, I don't think you're inherently wrong or right. I don't think you're inherently wrong or right for making either decision. But I'm just kind of giving my thoughts on both sides of that.
I was thinking about maybe introducing the butt plug idea to her and seeing if she would be down with that.
You could start slow like that.
Yeah. I think that would be the best way to do it. I might try next week.
Well, again, what's your name? Joseph. Well, Joseph, good luck to you. And like I said, I really, it's hard because I understand both sides of where you're coming from. And it's your decision at the end of the day as to whether or not you
I do
want to make
appreciate
that
your
secret.
time.
Totally. I do think you deserve somebody who you feel like will love you for exactly who you are. I feel like you deserve that if you're gonna give somebody your life. I mean, that's what you're doing with marriage. Like, you're giving somebody your fucking life, you know? It should be somebody who you really feel like deserves it. So just
I like
just
to live
think
by
about
the
that.
saying, if what they don't know won't hurts.
Hey, you know what? It's not a horrible philosophy to live by either, if that's what you choose.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Joseph.
Well, I got a lot out of this. Thank you, Gecko.
Of course, man. Take care.
You the man. Bye.
That was a tough one. Let's see. It is very hard. It's hard, right? Because I get on here and people call me and they tell me these things, and I have my thoughts of what I think. Oh, you should have. If you're getting married to someone, it should be someone who accepts you for who you are. It's easy for me to sit here and say that. And I do believe it. I really do. I really do believe that. That if you're gonna give somebody your fucking life, you're gonna marry someone. I mean, Jesus Christ. It should be somebody who accepts you for who you are. But that's an easy thing for me to say over the course of this 15-minute phone call, because I'm not living in the fear, the visceral emotions of it that this guy is living in. And he, overcoming, and it very well could be that overcoming that fear is too much for him. And he looks at his life and from a logical point of view says, it just would make more sense to keep this as a secret. It would just make me happier. If I can have this little thing, if I can go to my little group, I can have fun there, I can do my cross-dressing, and then I can have my other life with my wife who has no idea. I can have my other life with these construction worker friends, they have no idea. And that just makes me happy, and I just want to keep it like that. And you know what? I truly, I wouldn't fault him for doing that at all. I wouldn't fault him for doing that at all. So, I just hope he makes whatever decision is the best for him. Okay. And scene. Let's take another call, baby.
Hello?
Hi, is this Lydia?
This is Lydia.
What's going on with you, Lydia?
Oh, I've just been enjoying your podcast here. It's been good.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I'm really happy I'm talking to you. I'm kind of shocked a little bit, I'm going to be honest.
I'm stoked to be talking to you, too. I'm really enjoying the stream tonight. I'm enjoying talking to people. Some nights feel very slow. Some nights... my energy is off, but I feel very good. I feel really good tonight. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for any moment I get to have where I'm feeling attentive and happy in the moment. So that was a little corny of
That's
me to
good.
say.
You got to always live in the present.
Can't take it back now. It's been said. How can I get you, Lydia?
Yeah, so, I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of your perspective. I haven't, talked to anyone for about 4 years, and I never went on a dating app. So first time I went on Tinder, I met someone pretty interesting, and it's the only person I ever met on there. So yeah, this person, very smart, taught me gardening stuff, like very smart. But as I got to know him a little bit more, I discovered he likes some very interesting things, and then he has some suspicious behavior. So I guess I'll start with like the smaller stuff. Like he only likes, we're both 30 years old. I feel like Snapchats for like high schoolers, he will only communicate through that. I got his number like months later after I knew him because I thought it was kind of weird. Like, how do I not know this guy's number? So he gave it to me. And then one time I sent him a message and he like freaked out. Like, no, only message me on Snapchat. I was like, okay. Then he pays everything in cash. And then, so like for everything, like we'll go on a little mini vacation, all cash. If like he gets an Uber to my house or something, like he won't use the app. Like I'll order it and then he'll get here and pay me cash. So like, or he'll say like, Lydia, if anyone bothers you, like I'll take care of it. I don't even know what that means. So I don't really know a lot about him. He's very nice to me though. So it's just been very interesting. And, as I started doing other stuff with him, like I discovered he likes wearing girl underwear and other things. And I think what kind of, like made me feel like not so positive about the situation was just the way it was presented to me. I always go, like it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So like how it was presented to me was very shocking. I've never seen anything like that or done anything like that or even met a guy who really, like I have friends, but like I never experienced that with a guy, you know? So
when you say,
but the
hold
thing
on,
is,
just
I
to
do
clarify, when you
actually
say it, or do you mean everything you've been talking about thus far, or just the women's underwear thing?
Well, aside from like I don't know how much I can say here, you know, like aside from the women's underwear.
Oh,
like,
you mean like in
other
terms of, you can
things.
say whatever you want on here.
Okay, so it started small. So first he'll tell me like, can you stick your finger in my behind? And I was like, okay, like I never had a guy who asked me that. I'm like, sure, whatever, I'll explore, you know. And then it started going to butt plugs, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Then one day we were like kind of in actually, you know, having a good time, and then he's just like, oh, you know, I want to show you like the porn I like. And I was just kind of like in shock because I was, you know, a little distracted. So he just showed it to me. And then he's like, isn't this just like a beautiful girl with such a large, you know, cock? And after that, I was kind of like surprised because I was not expecting anything like that. So then, you know, I didn't want to make him feel awkward because I feel, you know, that's something you don't fully always share, I guess. So, you know, I'm glad he was open and all, but like it was still like kind of like, where'd that come from? And yeah, so I didn't really say much about it, but then after like the whole thing, I like kind of like thought about it, and I was like, me, do you kind of feel a little insecure because, you know, I'll never have a penis? Mm-hmm. Like these whole times that we've been doing things, like, has he imagined me with a penis? Like, you know, he wanted me to get butt plugs, put my finger in him, and then he'll like suck my finger and say it's like my girl cock. I didn't even know what that was.
Okay, we've got a lot of things going on here. Two different. We're talking. These are two separate things, by the way. I feel like you're bringing up two separate things. Because there's the whole like, what the fuck's up with this guy and what he does, and then there's what the fuck's up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's up with this guy in the bedroom type of thing. So let's talk about the first one first. He pays for everything in cash. So, I mean, it's pretty safe to assume that he does he's a drug guy. You say, I mean, you told the call screener that he works in the cannabis industry.
Yeah, he's a professional licensed cannabis industry. He like manages like 400 plants in his warehouse. Yeah.
Okay. And he clearly has like a privacy thing because he only wants to do Snapchat. He doesn't want any of your conversations recorded. He pays for everything with cash. Maybe he just has this like inherent distrust of
like
the government. Or say that again.
He always is concerned about safety, like around that too. Yeah.
Say that one last time. You said it. You cut out right when you were talking about safety.
So he's also always very concerned about safety all the time. Like he always wants to have a gun around him.
He always has a gun around him?
Yeah, that too. Yes, I think that's kind of an important detail.
At all, like every time you're with him, he has a gun.
Yeah. Like he'll come over and he'll bring his gun. Yeah, if we go somewhere like on vacation, he'll take it.
Okay. How does that make you feel?
Well, I'm not really afraid of guns. I'm pretty comfortable with them. I own one myself. It's not like I go, you know, I'm not like a fanatic and go all crazy about them, but I'm a girl, you know, who lives at home, so I just have a handgun for protection, so it doesn't really bother me. But it is kind of odd that it's like, why do you, like, he's so worried about safety that you always feel like you have to have a gun. Like I have one, but I don't feel like if I leave my house, I must have it with me to feel safe, you know?
Okay, so he pays with everything in cash. He's afraid of people listening to his conversations. He carries a gun around with him everywhere, as you say, not just like you guys go on your mini vacations and he brings the gun. Okay. So like, you know what? The whole second part of this, where it's like he is, attracted to trans people, and you're wondering like, oh, is he not attracted to me because I'm not trans? whatever. That is what it is.
Makes,
but,
yeah.
What? How long have you known this guy for?
I would say like 8 months or so, since September of last
You've been
year.
dating for 8 months.
Yeah, but I don't see him all the time. It's a little bit like a interesting setup, because I'm pretty independent myself, so I only see him maybe a couple times a month, and then sometimes we'll take like a little vacation or something. Yeah.
And then you wrote he has offered to take care of people. You told me this as well. You said he has offered to take care of people.
Yeah, he has said that, yeah. Said it a couple times. Like,
meaning
anyone bothers you, let me know. I'll
have
make
them
sure they
killed.
get taken care of. I honestly never asked for details. I think I just heard that and I was like, what is that? I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, I'm obviously not gonna say if I have a problem with him.
Lydia, listen, Lydia, you're your own human being. You are 30 years old. You have the agency to, date, see, do whatever you want. But by God, this guy, I would not date this guy. This guy seems dangerous to me.
Yeah. I think I tend to like danger. I don't know. Yeah, it's a pattern, I guess. I'm very smart. Yeah.
You say it's a pattern.
Yeah, the last person I was with was a very toxic person too. Yeah.
Okay, you said 2 just now. Was that a
I did
Freudian
say that.
slip,
Well,
or do
you said he was like
Well, I never said he was toxic. I'm just talking you through what's going on with you. Do you think he's toxic?
Not really, because he's very nice to me. Like, yes, there's these odd behaviors. I see that. I see that as red huge flags that you should run for the hills for. I get that. But he's also very kind to me, like very generous, very, very nice. Very nice. Very thoughtful.
You see, I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted about this because, look, you're your own person. You should do whatever you want. But I don't know. It just makes me squeamish that, because, like, look, people are nice to you until they're not. I don't know. He doesn't seem like a guy who's, I don't know. This is a weird situation to me. This guy's always carrying around a gun, and he's like, because another thing is, if you don't really know what's going on with this guy, I'm in my head, I'm like, well, what if, like he's involved with some fucking gang or something, and they're like, all right, well, we can't get him. Let's figure out who's close to him and, send kidnap her or whatever the fuck. I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to tell you it's not safe. I'm not going to tell you it is safe. I don't really know. I really can't gather that much information over this 11-minute phone call, but well, let me ask you this. You called me, and I don't know if this is just like something that you just like, oh, I called a Gecko, let me think of what I have to talk about, but the fact that you called me shows that there is some inkling within you that's like, it's a little bit skeptical of this whole situation.
Saying, get away.
Let's talk about this gut feeling. What's this gut feeling saying to you?
It just says, well, okay, so I just feel like I, in a sense, need him for something because I grow cannabis plants. He gave me some, so I need him to tell me like what nutrients to give it, and then everything's so secretive. Like if I ask, oh, what did I give this? What's the brand of it? I want to like share it with whatever, and then very limited information. Will only tell me day by day. All right,
back up. You say you need this gut feeling is saying we're all over the place now. You're saying you need him to help you grow your plants?
Yeah. I know that sounds so bad.
And you're saying that as a reason to stay with him? What are you saying that as?
Well, see, the way I see it, I don't really see him too much. I see him maybe a couple times a month, and then when I do see him, it's like a good time. So the time, like, I still get like instructions on my plants, and then I want to learn how to grow them, so I can just have that as my supply. So I see it as I only have to.
Okay, hold on. We're getting off topic. We're getting off topic here. This feels off topic because I'm talking about this gut feeling. You called me because you wanted to talk to me
Mm-hmm.
about this stuff, how you feel like this guy is shady, you know, whatever, the bedroom stuff, it feels like an after-the-fact thing. But you just feel like he was shady, and so you called to talk about it because a gut feeling is telling you that it's shady. Tell me about that gut feeling.
Yeah, my gut feeling says it's not worth my time.
Okay. Your gut
Like,
feeling is
just
telling you that it's not worth
I
that
don't know.
time.
I don't know, actually. I don't know. That's a. I don't know.
This is a tough situation because you're an adult. I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, if you want I'm not even looking at the chat right now. I'm sure everyone has the same thing where they're like, yeah, this guy, he sounds to me like he's kind of bad news. You're an adult. You can make whatever risky decisions you want to make, but it's definitely, I don't know about this guy. It seems like a weird situation to be in.
Yeah.
So just be vigilant, at least.
Yeah.
And this is, you said you're on Tinder, right?
Yeah, it was the first time I used it. Only person I met there.
Are you talking to other people on Tinder?
No, I only like to sleep with one person at a time.
Well, Lydia, good luck to you. I hope that talking about this situation. You said did you tell me that? Have you like told other people that you're seeing this guy and like just about this shit?
Just one person knows. My friend.
Oh, is it like one of your friends? What does your friend think about this whole situation?
Oh, they don't think he's a positive person to be around.
Okay, all right. So now we have two perspectives. Right? Because and this is a bad sign too. Because I'm thinking like, well, shit. If she's gonna break up with him, like, I'm like, dude, I'm scared about like, how are you gonna leave this? Because this guy just seems like he's a. This is messy. Because if I'm you, I'm like, okay, cool. Because I'm just thinking about like, if you're gonna leave this, like, has he ever been like violent or weird or just a little shady?
No, just like the communication thing is kind of off, like the cash thing. That's it. But yeah, I don't really know a whole lot about him, so that's kind of odd too. Yeah, he's very nice to me, very generous. I don't know, very nice person.
Well,
he's
well, Lydia,
also likes weird things.
Well, Lydia, look, man, be vigilant, all that stuff. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything that you want to say to the people with the computer before we go?
No, thank you for listening. I think listening helps more than you know.
Awesome. Thank you for calling, Lydia.
And thank you. All right, bye.
Would I personally date a guy who brings a gun everywhere? I would not. Yeah, that just had bad news written all over it. That had bad news written all over it. And I heard Lydia, I almost went deeper into this, but I guess I didn't, where she said, you heard her say, she said that she's attracted to danger. And maybe that's part of the reason why she continues to see him. And she had all these reasons. She was sort of justifying it. She was like, well, he's nice to me, and I only see him a few times a month, and like, whatever. She's an adult. She can make her own decisions if she is attracted to danger and wants to do risky stuff. It's her prerogative, but that just fucking didn't sit right with me at all. Anything with that guy. I hope she is okay. I hope she makes the right decision. Whatever that may be. Stay safe, Lydia. Okay. Moving on. Hello?
Oh my god, is this me?
No, it's me.
Lyle? Oh my god, I didn't think I was going to get picked. Hi.
And here you are. You're picked. Let's make it worth it. Can you hear
how
me,
are you
Joey?
doing tonight, Lyle?
Joey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling, to be honest, I'm feeling better than I felt in the past 48 hours. How are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good. I was just making a steak for dinner, and I accidentally set off my smoke alarm, so I had to deal with that for a few minutes. So, but it's good now.
Is it still going?
No, you'd hear it if it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why that was a dumb question of me to ask. What's going on with you, Joey?
Nothing much. I'm just just trying to live my best life, you know. Doing everything I can to make others happy in the world, you know.
Is there anything in particular that you wanted to talk about tonight?
Yeah, so the reason I called you, Lyle, was because, so I don't know if you know who the Colorado Avalanche are.
No idea.
But they are the Colorado hockey team. So, like, they're the professional hockey team in Colorado. And they've just made it to the Western Conference Finals. So they're one round away from making it to, like, the championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So for context, in game 5, in game 5 they blew a 3-0 lead. So in the third period they had a 3-1 lead and they blew it. They ended up losing that game 5-4 in overtime. And I found myself getting very upset. Like, I was beyond upset, right?
Oh yeah.
So upset that I pounded my fist at the bar, and I, like, hurt my fist for a little bit, and I went to bed angry. And then when I woke up, I found myself, I was very anxious because my team happened to have this curse on them where they couldn't get out of the second round. They did eventually win the game, but up until that point where they won the game, I was extremely, like, just anxious and nervous that we were going to lose again. And I found that I was letting myself become hyper, like, my emotions, my happiness and my sadness were dictated by the hockey team, right? So my question to you is how should I not get so invested? Because I have a ton of jerseys. I buy, you know, I just bought a ticket to game 1 tomorrow, you know, so, like, I am a super fan, but I don't want to have my emotions connected to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Well, you told the call screener that you feel like your obsession with sports is affecting your happiness and your emotions to an excessive degree. Yes. So, I feel like sports is like with all things, you know, an escapism, you know, because you're emotionally invested in something, and it feels kind of good to care about shit, be emotionally invested in shit, and that's why people get invested into sports, is because there's something to that. And I guess the problem, and you could say this about a lot of things, but it becomes a problem when you get so emotionally invested into this thing that is not worth being the sole focus of all of the emotions that you have to invest. Right? That's the problem. So I ask you, what else in your life do you have to become emotionally invested in?
Well, I kind of just got a boyfriend, so I have that, but he's an hour away from me, and I can only see him, like, every other week because, you know, gas is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm trying to, so I have that, and then I have a couple, I don't know if you've heard of the shows called Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss.
No.
They're on YouTube. They're free to watch. So, Has Been Hotel is about the Princess of Hell. They have like a purge in hell every year.
Hold on. You don't have to tell me what the show is about. But are you saying that those shows are what you're becoming emotionally invested in?
Yes, but the problem is the season finale of one of the shows is taking a while to come out because it's an independently funded show, and then the other one is it's still coming out. So I'm kind of invested in that. Yeah.
What do you do for a living? Or are you in school or do you work?
I work at this place called Microchip.
Microchip.
Man, people are mean in chat. They're saying I need.
Don't. Joey, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Joey, please don't read the chat. Please put the chat away, and we'll just you and me talk. Don't worry about what they're saying. They're not real people. They're just bots. This is all, and you're not real either. Right. The callers aren't real. I'm not real. None of this is real. We're all a dream in my head. Don't read the chat. Can you hear me, Joey?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry. Sorry, Lyle.
No, it's okay, man. Don't worry about it. Don't listen to anything that they said. Okay. All right. So you have your boyfriend. You work at this place called Microchip. Tell me more about your job. What do you do there?
So it's kind of hard to describe what I do there because it's like I literally make microchips. So I'm in a clean room. Like I'm wearing a bunny suit, which is kind of like a hazmat suit, but white, and like you have to put boots on, you have to put glasses on, but the whole spiel.
Okay. Do you like your job?
Not really, but it pays very well, and it's a very it's like a very professional job.
Okay, that's fair. So you don't like the job itself, but you like the status and the money, which is fair.
Right.
Okay. So you have your boyfriend, but he lives an hour away. Do you have friends?
Yes, I do. They're very busy because they deal with a lot of crap themselves.
Sure.
So I don't really get to talk to them that often, and we do hang out at a club meeting, like at like a club every other Wednesday that I can make
awesome.
It for a card game.
Awesome. So you have your card game club every other week. That's great. You have this job which you seem like you're proud of and it's making you money, but you don't like the job that much yourself. You have this boyfriend. So the reason I'm asking all this stuff because we're kind of trying to find like you're getting and this is you telling me that you feel like it's a problem for you, being too heavily emotionally invested into sports, which is something that you just I mean, it's a classic thing that you have no control over. And that has no control over you, so I think it's, everybody has their thing, whether it's video games or movies or whatever, and if it makes you happy, that's awesome, but I think you also understand that like there's you want to limit your amount of emotional investment in this kind of stuff before it gets like too real, because you're describing it as getting too real. And find better things to be emotionally invested in. And your relationships are great things to be emotionally invested in. Your friends. I love that you have this card group of people. I think that's awesome. I love that you have this relationship that's new that you seem excited about. That's awesome. You don't seem too invested in your job, but that's okay. Not everyone has to love their job. But I guess I'm trying to think of like what are some productive things for you to get emotionally invested in that aren't just sports or entertainment necessarily.
Yeah, and see that's the problem, because funnily enough, I do have a real therapist and a psychiatrist, and we talk about these things because I do take antidepressants and stuff, but the problem is all they help me do is like get out of bed, really, and then it's up to me to determine what to do. And I'm not a very interesting person. I live in a very beautiful city where there's a lot of nature, outdoorsy stuff, and I'm not a very outdoorsy person. So, I'm more like, let's go do things with people. Let's go hang out with people. But the problem is when you don't have anybody to go do those things with, then you kind of just have to find something,
Okay, so you say you're not a very interesting person. Do you genuine question, do you want to be more interesting?
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like I want to be a good enough person and an interesting enough person to be able to make an impact on the world where I can make people smile, make people happy, just, be a light in people's lives where they don't have one. But
I think
at
that's
the same
awesome.
time,
I think
the problem with that
I wanted
is that,
to say right there. I just want to say right there. I think what you just said, that goal, I think that in and of itself is a thing that is worth you becoming emotionally invested in. Is the idea of that and how you can execute upon that idea. Does that make sense? Because so
like try and find a way to get involved in like local community and stuff, right?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, yeah, that's one of, a billion different ways that you can satisfy that goal right there. I'm a big fan of the general idea that can be filled in many different vessels, such as getting involved in local shit, like you just said. So I think that right there is a great thing to be emotionally invested in. That's not necessarily sports or entertainment. Tell me, what else does your therapist tell you when you bring all this shit up to them?
So my my last meeting with him was like 2 weeks ago because I can't afford him anymore because I have insurance, but he's out of market, so I have to pay out of pocket for him.
Yeah.
So I'm actually working on finding a new therapist. But what he was saying was, I think maybe this stems from you just having an overwhelming sense of self-hate.
Really? What was the reasoning for that?
Because I do have an overwhelming sense of self-loathing, self-hatred, self-pity, stuff.
Sure.
Right. And, I look at people like you, Lyle, and I see the great impact you're having on your community. And, that's what I want to do. I want to help people, even if it's just talking, just talking to someone, even for 5 minutes a day, can maybe save someone's life, Yeah,
man, I appreciate you saying that. I think, I think that's awesome. I think that if you get anything out of, if we can take this call down to a thesis of it for you to like think about with all this shit, I think that right there is the thesis is great. You have and I've talked to people a lot about this before. You have like this central idea that you want to help people. And it's a fantastic foundation. Not necessarily that idea itself, but just to have any idea of what you want to do while you're alive. And so all this emotional energy that you're putting into, if I can give you one sort of recommendation, all this emotional energy that you're putting into, and not to say that you have to stop watching hockey or stop, watching these online shows or anything like that, but like, I would take some of the emotional energy that you're putting into those things and put it into really sitting down and thinking. Like, I would, like, dude, even if you wrote out a list on paper of like, okay, I want to help people, I want to give back to the community in some way, what are concrete ways that I could do that. Does it involve going on fucking Facebook events and finding when people are picking up trash at the local park? Or does it involve going on YouTube and making videos talking about your experience with your self-hatred and how that, you know, you sharing that might be able to help other people? Whatever it is, just like taking some time to brainstorm and really think about actionable ways for you to accomplish this central idea that you have, I think would help. And I think that, and I'm not a real therapist, I'm not going to tell you anything that your real therapist, you know, whatever, but I think with the self-hatred thing, I think we all deal with a little bit of that. And I think if you had a little bit of evidence for yourself, right? If you sat down and you wrote this stuff out, and then you went and actioned upon it, and then it provided you with a little bit of evidence of like, okay, great, I do, and this will happen if you take some form of action toward it, is a little bit of evidence will sprout up, and you'll be like, oh, I do have the ability to affect change in other people, and I've evidenced that to myself through these actions I've taken. You know, your brain won't be able to ignore that. So that is what I would recommend to you. What do you think about all of that?
Okay. I think you're right. I think that's some of the best advice I've gotten in a long time. And, you know, I can't believe it's coming from a gecko. So
I fucking can't believe it's coming from a gecko.
But Lyle, thank you so much.
Of course, man. Joey, of course. What's the name of this team again?
The Colorado Avalanche.
Colorado. Okay, I'll be keeping an eye on the Colorado Avalanche, and I do hope you take the time to think about actionable ways to, you know, go off on that idea, because I believe in you, Joey. You sound like a sweet guy, and you know, I'm wishing you good luck on your journey.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And people, don't forget to tip your bartenders.
Cha-ching, baby. Have a good night, Joey.
Have a good night, Lyle.
I like Joey. He's a sweet guy. I talk about this all the time on here. Rarely think about it when I'm trying to solve my own problems in my own life. That's how a lot of Therapy Gecko stuff goes for me. I have little moments in my life where I'm like, well, you told people on the internet to do this. Why don't you fucking do it? And I'm like, fuck. I'm Therapy Geckoing myself. Because I have tenets like that. That whole call was about having a little inkling of a general idea of what you want to do with your time alive, and then trying to figure out how to do it, which is what I hope Joey does. I think mine is that I just want to do something interesting. I just want to be doing something interesting. I think there's something interesting about talking to strangers on the phone about their lives, and so I do that. And if I ever can't do that, I will think of something else interesting to do. But it's always good to have some sort of general, vague tenet that is just a floaty idea, more so than a specific, I want to go to Berlin and be a crab fisherman. Because then when you're banned from Berlin and you find out you're allergic to crabs, you're fucked. But if you're just like, I want to do interesting things, then, you know, there's infinite ways to fulfill that. Good luck to Joey. Sweet boy. Sorry the chat was being mean to him. Hope they don't do that again.